one more time to the episode 5 of Giving Back with Deji. I'm so glad and excited that we are going live one more time for people to see and to learn a thing or two from this platform. This platform has added a lot of value to a lot of people. I'm glad because I know that this platform genuinely was born out of giving people opportunities to get information that they need for them to become better in their life, and for them to also plan for the future. Now, I know a lot of people have asked a lot of questions from me about how do I connect to Giving Back with Deji live. For those of you who are live with us right now, please, our advice to share the link of this live video to your family, and share the link to this live video to family and friends. Let them learn a thing or two. And I also promise that for every episode of Giving Back with Deji, I'm going to bring in quality people who will tell you a thing or two and also share information that will add value to you, and also to make things easy for you. Now, I read a book some time ago, and one of the things I read in that book was that not all of us have to struggle to get things done. There's some of us that just need to ride on the shoulders of people and get the information we want. So some information that people get over 10 years, some of you can get it in just 1 month, and then you just move. So there's some people who have gone on this path and have learned a thing or two, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. All you just need to do is to pick up from where these people have gotten their information from, and then you learn from them, and then you move. So tonight, based on popular demand, we decided to have this session one more time. Now, this session is on speaking to student migration overseas. Now, I know there are a lot of people who have questions about migrating out of the country. Some want to know different routes. I know a lot of people have talked about going through different routes, but one of the most guaranteed and steady means of migration out of the country over the years, though a little bit expensive than the others, is the student migration. There are a lot of young people out there who like to further their education and also want to be on the same platform and to stand on the same pedestal with international colleagues or people who are counterparts like them. But they feel disadvantaged with the quality of education that they get in Nigeria. Now, it's obvious that right now we are in a global village. Our competition are not people in the same country with us. Our competition are also people in other countries. And the same market where we go into, right, because of COVID-19, we've discovered that you need to connect with people is just a click away using platforms like this platform we're using right now. And you can actually take jobs and work remotely. A lot of people want to learn a thing or two, and they want to have the same quality of education with guys outside the country. Yeah, there are a lot of online platforms that you can online universities that you can learn from. But today we want to talk about those who are interested in leaving the shores of Nigeria and going to another country and then study, and those who like to have opportunities of studying in those countries and then move out after the years of doing their education and go into a post-study work permit, for example, to have probably a route to settlement in another country. Welcome to Giving Back with Deji. Now, a little bit about why we started Giving Back with Deji was because we've gotten a lot of questions coming from a lot of people, and we felt that let's create a platform where everybody can learn. People can make reference to some of these documents or these videos that we push out there. So please, I'm glad because this is a platform that you can always make reference to. For those of you that are watching us on YouTube, please click on the subscribe button below so you can join us, so you can get alert whenever there's a new video. And if you like the video, please just do a thumbs up and appreciate the quality of what we're doing here. Tonight, I have a guest. Now, some of you must have seen the publication and different platforms that we've pushed out. His name is Olayide Eko Olumeko. Yes, he actually wanted me not to make that mistake on this pronunciation. Okay, so Olayide Olumeko is here. He's ready to join us on Giving Back with Deji. I'm going to be inviting Olayide to the show right now. Olayide, you're welcome. Olayide Olumeko, thank you for joining us tonight. Can you hear me? Are you there, Olayide Olumeko? You can hear me live?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great.
Live. Yes, I can hear
Great.
you.
Thank you very much for joining us. So I'm just going to talk about Olayide Olumeko briefly, and then we go into the discussion. So Olayide Olumeko is a fellow at X-Culture team, and he's a staff liar. Trust me. He came out as one of the top 40% among 5,000 MBA students from 6 continents around the world. He has over 5 years experience in sales and marketing and business growth hack. Olayide Olumeko presently works with MOD Education as an international education specialist. I've had a lot of conversation with Olayide Olumeko. He has we've had a lot of conversations together. So it's someone I can refer you, my fans, and every other person who watching this video to go have a session with him for you to know the route to take if you need to leave the country. Olayide Olumeko, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
This is Giving Back with Deji. And for those who like to join us, you can go join us on Facebook Live. We're live on Facebook. We are also live on YouTube. You can watch the video live, and also you can watch the video after this session. So Olayide Olumeko, who are you? I think the first question is Olayide Olumeko. I think a lot of people like to know who you are. We can't see your face properly. I don't know if you can tilt. Good.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see your face now.
Better. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Mr. Deji. Thank you so much for this privilege to have been on this platform. It's my humble honor to be invited to speak. Well, for everyone on Facebook and on YouTube, I want to say thank you for spending this short time with me and Mr. Deji tonight. And wherever part of the world that you're going to be watching this from, I want to say you are actually in the right place at the right time, picking up the right information to reshape your future and take the right decisions. All right, who am I? Olayide Olumeko. I'm an education specialist with Mode Education in Nigeria, one of the top 3 agencies that focuses on student recruitment. And my very, very short role at Mode Education is to counsel students, is to counsel parents, is to counsel everybody I come across every day to better up their life, to take the right decisions, to show them the right path to move abroad. That is actually what I do at Mode Education. And individually, honestly, I made a personal goal this year, 2021, apart from other goals I had, that I will make sure that 1,000 people is going to be affected by me positively. And that is very, very brief. It's just to make sure that 1,000 people, either in 2021, in 2022, or in 2023, they actually migrate legally to whichever country they want to go to. Legally. Not backdoor. Not backdoor, actually. So it's going to be a legal pathway for them to move abroad. So that is what I do. And I've been evangelizing this since January 2021.
All right. Thank you very much for emphasizing the legally, because a lot of people think that that getting out of the country needs to be through some backdoor arrangements and the others.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you mentioned that word legally. So everyone, please, I'd like you to know that the person sitting before you knows his onions. He's here to come and speak to you about stuff that will add value to you. So let's go into the business. So the education industry, especially for those who are migrating out of the country, how is it like right now? What's happening right now in the industry generally? Yeah.
Very, very good question that you've asked, Mr. Deji. To be honest with you, if I would trace it back to Nigeria, you will discover that just yesterday or day before yesterday, 97, if I'm correct, new private universities were approved by the federal government. Just because the existing ones are not sufficient to empower or equip young Nigerians to study. Unfortunately, the spaces are getting tighter every day, even in the four walls of Nigeria as we speak right now. So 97, I'm not very certain, but I think it should be around that figure. I stand to be corrected, but I think it's around that figure that was approved just this week for private universities. Now, that shows to you and to me and everyone listening today that private universities, public universities are not sufficient. The figures we have right now are not sufficient to take in young secondary school leavers into the four walls of the university right as we speak in Nigeria. Now, I will give you statistics. Over 2 million. I think the next jam will be coming up in some few weeks.
Yeah.
From what I heard today, over 2 million young secondary school leavers are going to go for that examination. Now, as we speak right now, the four walls of the universities we have in this country will not be sufficient to take in 2 million students.
Yeah.
So, and you will also agree with me that for about a year thereabout, there's been a shutdown in the four walls of the university in Nigeria. And that has a negative impact on the current situation and also the future preparedness of the universities to take in students. And from reliable source, I've heard that even if you take your JAMB this year, you are not guaranteed a space in the public universities in Nigeria. You are not. Either definitely for undergraduate students, definitely. Because the current ones.
So invariably, not to talk down on the educational industry right now, things are on the hold right now in Nigeria when it comes to education.
That's certain.
The universities are not empowered to do online studying, right, in Nigeria right now.
That's true.
So we have
students
who have been at home for over a year doing nothing, right? That's what true. That's the analysis you're just giving right now.
That's true.
Go ahead.
Those data are all open everywhere. ASU is there. I'm not going to castigate any organization anyway. They are fighting for a particular, which is okay. They want a better wages, they want a better salaries, they want a better bonus or whatever. It's okay. But at the expense of the future of this nation. At the expense of the future of those who are in SS1 currently in Nigeria, those who are currently in SS3 right now. That is the reality. So it makes this sector extremely viable. Let me give you an instance. There was about maybe 2 years, no, it should be about 2018. I had something to do at the Ministry of Education and Foreign Affairs in Abuja. And it took me virtually almost about 2 days, 3 days to achieve the purpose of what I wanted to do at those two ministries. Now, it's just very simple. The crowd I saw at those two ministries, that 2 days, 3 days, was enormous. And most of them came for validation of their credentials for them to school abroad. Because some countries in Europe will not allow you to process admission or even proceed into visa process without you getting a validation from the Ministry of Education. And that alone will be a tug of war to achieve. So I can count that 2018 over 1,000 students at that specific space that time. So that sector is loaded with potential. And one other thing that will buttress this point is because the population of this country, the younger population of this country between the age of 15 to about 25 are over 70%. So that gives you and myself, yes, of the population, over 200 million or what, about 200 million population in Nigeria, 70% of that population is sitting on between 15 and 25. So there are a lot of potentials for many people, many parents who wants to get their younger ones educated adequately for them to prepare themselves for the future. So that is why the sector is a gold mine. And you will also agree with me. You will also agree with me, sorry, that from the community that we live in Nigeria, you can actually count not less than five private schools or public schools within your community, within the radius of your community, even a trekking distance, to tell you that there is a potential in that sector.
So let's talk about, let's dive deep into student migration overseas.
Okay.
Now, there's a lot of myths out there with students, or a lot of people who are potential. So I would like you to focus. I know a lot of people have asked questions about the undergraduate, and a lot of people have asked about the graduate. So I would like you to talk about both of them together, okay? Whatever joins the two of them together, I need you to talk about it. Now, a lot of people have this myth that it takes an arm and it takes a leg for you to go study outside the country. There are a lot of myths out there on what the processes are. A lot of people have lost a lot of money, paying money to the wrong people for the whole purpose of want to go study outside the country. Please, can you help us demystify the information about migration outside the country? I need you to give people a process flow of what they need to have at the back of their mind, how they need to prepare, what they need to prepare, how they need to prepare, and what they need in order to set up on the journey. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Deji, for that insight. Very frankly, education abroad costs a huge sum of money. So everyone who is going to dabble into that must adequately be prepared. It's not a place where you say, I want to study mass communication, I want to study marketing, and you just wake up one morning and pick up your bags and just take off. Now, surprisingly, there are some certain countries that you want to even process admissions to, and it takes you a preparation for 1 year before you start the application to those countries. If you are going in September 2022, it's that by July this year, you should start the preparation towards that. Now, coming back to your question, what are those steps for you to genuinely, legally go through the study route, which we are talking and focusing on tonight? Now, number one thing is that if I'm going to look at the undergraduate pathway, if, for example, you have finished your SS3 in Nigeria and you've taken your WAEC, which is the most important exams in your entire life, then that alone, it's sufficient, but will still not get the right foot forward in the doors of those universities. No matter what the class of those universities is across the world, it could be ranked even 1,000 among 1,000. Having your WAEC and you have a straight A, maybe 8 straight A's from your WAEC is not enough to get you admissions. And let me quickly defend that. Number two, what you need to add on top of the WAEC, which I would mention right now, is your transcript. And many often times when I engage students to say, go back to your secondary school where you finished from and get your transcript, they will say, oh, what is transcript? Very, very simple. The exams and records that you took when you were in SS1, first term, second term, and third term, the same applies to SS2 and SS3. It is what we call the transcript. the university you're going to want to see, what did you do? You had a WAEC. WAEC don't have a transcript. WAEC marks your script and provides you if you had a A1 in English and a B3 in mathematics. That is not sufficient for them to take a decision to admit you. So they want to see your track record of your SS1, SS2, and SS3, which your principal or anyone in academics of that of that college or that secondary school will provide for you. And that will show what you had in your CA, what you had in your exams, all through those 3 years of your entire life. And that forms the academic strength of your SS1 to SS3. Number 3, that you are also going to require to process an admission genuinely, is that you will need a reference letter from that same principal of that college or that secondary school. The principal will write and attestate your character, attestate that you were a genuine student for that college, and he will also put his name, his signature, and also on the letterhead of that college, putting his name on the line that I guarantee that this student for 3 years was under my watch, and I can guarantee his character. So that reference letter is a key part of those documents that will be added in the admission process. And number 4 also, to stand you out, there are 2 things that I will mention quickly. Number 1, you need to take an English test. Forget about that you had a B3. Even if you have a B3 in English, some universities will waive the English requirement truthfully. But you are not just only the student across the world applying to that department. And for you to stand out, you need to prove beyond reasonable doubt that you can communicate effectively in English. You can understand English, because you are going to a different culture where you and I grew up from a different background. The way they speak is different. The way they comprehend is different. So to stand you out and to give you a edge over the competitors who happens to be from India, from Pakistan, from Somalia, and from Kenya, all of those places, you need to write the English test. That's number 4, right?
And for countries that English language is their lingua franca, right?
That is true. That is true. Even if you are going to China,
you need to take the English test still.
Yes, even if you are going to China, yes.
Can you give us an idea of some of the English tests that we need to look out for?
Very correct. You can look out for TOEFL, that's test of English as a foreign language. You can look at IELTS, that's International English Language Test. You can look at PTE, that's PSANS, if I'm right with the pronunciation. So those first three are most popular. Some people also take the Cambridge English exams also, which also gives you a edge. And for the first 2, the TOEFL and the IELTS is the most popular actually amongst Nigerians here. So that gives you an opportunity for you to write and have not less than 5 basically in each of the band, in listening, in speaking, in writing, and in reading. So when you have those, it qualifies you. And I want to also quickly mention another test that will help you for the listeners tonight and those who will listen later. You will also look at SAT, that is Scholastic Aptitude Test, and also the ACT also. Now, those 2 tests, for those who are going to Northern American universities, Canada, and the US, that 2 exams will stand you out if you
SAT and what?
SAT and the SAT. That's ACT. Sorry, ACT and SAT. Yeah, those 2 exams. Yeah, those 2 exams focuses on Northern American universities in the US particularly, and also in Canada. Those 2 exams are good for are actually good for those who want to get partial scholarship or sometimes even full scholarship. Undergraduate students, yes. So those are the 2 exams that I would advise young students from secondary school to write those exams, so that someone in India who has written the English test someone in India who has taken the SAT exams. You know, when the admission officers are taking decisions, they are taking decisions based on what does this candidate have, and what does this other candidate don't have, and they can begin to
your
screen you
competition
out.
is not with Nigerians. Your competition is the student at the global scale.
That is the truth. You are competing at a global stage because you are entering into a global university, a university that is ranked 1,000, a university that is top 100 in the world. So you are not just the only person. In fact, maybe in your class, you might just be the only Nigerian. Other people are from Malaysia, Spanish, people from Germany, and all of those places. So you are in an international classroom. So you are rubbing shoulders with someone who's coming from Asia, from America, from South America or South Africa, and thereabout. So that gives you a double edge.
Let me interrupt you. So what about for students who are already who are probably in their 200 level or thereabout, and they want to stop where they are and join another university, for example, outside the country? What do they need to do? Are there any hopes for them, or do they have to? Will they be addressed like the ones who just want to get undergraduate qualification, acceptance into those universities? Yeah.
Okay, very good question you've asked, sir. Quickly, if you are currently in 200 level or 300 level, you still can move into any of the universities across the world, depending on your choice.
As an
what you need to do as an undergraduate, yes, what you need to do, there's what we call credit. I can't remember the right sentence here, but your credit, which you have acquired in the first 100 level and 200 level, probably, you can actually use that to claim some exemptions. Like, for example, typically in the UK, you have 3 years undergraduate program. That's the most popular one. Most 70% of the universities in the UK are 3 years undergraduate. So when you are coming from, for example, maybe from Obafemi Awolowo University and you're currently in 200 level, you can actually use your credit in 100 level and 200 level to gain an exemption in some certain courses, and get some waivers, buy some time for yourself, and possibly start in the second year in the UK.
That's clear.
Possible also, you can even, if it is a 4-year program in the university, you can even buy the first and the second year and start in the third year.
Okay, so let's talk about possible. So now let's move further. Let's talk about the those who have graduated who are graduates and then who are looking for opportunities for their masters. What do they need?
Okay, you see, there's actually a very slim difference between those who are going into undergraduate program and those who are going into postgraduate program. Now, the postgraduate program requirements are just the same with the undergraduate program. I will also emphasize that your transcript for your first degree is provided, your bachelor's degree certificate is provided, your English test is made available, your motivation letter. I forgot to mention that in the undergraduate when I mentioned requirements. When you are going for a master's program, you must, and even if you are going on the graduate program, you must write a motivation letter, which is very simple. Sometimes 500.
The intending students need to write a motivation letter. Please, can you explain what a motivation letter is, please, for those who don't understand what motivation letter means?
Okay. Motivation letter is just about why, answering the question why. Why do you want to come to this university? Why do you want to come to this particular course? I want to study aerospace engineering. Why aerospace engineering? Why do you want to come into the UK or into Canada or in the US? So those whys must be answered in 500 words. And I used to tell everybody that I engage with, your personal statement is your personal story. Nobody should write your personal statement for you.
Which is the motivation letter, right?
Which is the motivation letter. What is your motivation for coming to study your master's program in the UK?
And it must be compelling enough. Who are you writing that letter to?
you are writing that letter straight to the admission office. The admission officers are the ones to read that motivation letter or your personal statement and decide, among other things, that they want to base your criteria, your standard on to give you admission or to admit you or not to admit you.
Okay, that's clear. So now, so you've highlighted right now that the undergraduate and for the postgraduate, the process are similar. You need to you need to have your transcript either from your university. Then for those who are going for undergraduate, you need to get their transcript from their secondary school. They need to get a reference from the principal of the secondary school. Then for the graduate, they need to get a letter from lecturers also, right? Am I correct?
That's true. That's true. Reference letters from your academics, lecturers. Yeah. Okay. Even sometimes professional. For those who are currently working and you have a work experience, you would also be required to get a professional reference letter from where you currently work. Your head of department can do that for you, or your supervisor can also write that for you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
good. All right, so that's clear. So let's move on. Now we've closed on the part where you need to get all this documentation. So for the graduates, you need to have a certificate also, right? You need to get a school certificate from the university, a transcript, reference letter, one academic, one professional for those who have work experience, and also you mentioned that they need to write a motivation letter. We're correct, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
Good.
Yeah.
Now let's assume they've all passed that stage right now. What should be the next thing in the mind of the intending student?
Very, very good question, Mr. Deji. The next thing in your mind, or sometimes I want to put the cart before the horse, is that you should have researched the course you want to study. You should have researched the university you want to study, because your motivation letter will be tailored to that university. You cannot just throw in a general motivation letter. You must tailor that motivation letter to that specific department and to that university specifically. You must marry the informations you have researched, your future goal, matching them together on the motivation letter. So once you have done your research, you've gotten all the information about the country you want to go to. Maybe, for example, someone is going to the UK. What are the laws in the UK? Maybe we will talk about that later. What are the opportunities for me in the UK when I finish my program? So you have researched, you've gathered information about Canada, about the US, and you sat down to draw up your lines to say, this is the best place that fits into my culture, that fits in my goal, that fits into my future, that will enhance my future. This is the university I've settled for that will help me achieve my goal 5 years to come. So you've done that research. Then the next thing for you is to put an application towards that university.
All right.
That is the next thing.
So
you've gathered the document.
Go ahead.
You gather the document, you put all of that together. Then the next thing for you to do is short that application. Understanding also is very key about the application requirements, understanding the processes of application, because universities differs to universities. Deadlines differs to deadlines. So you must understand that peculiarity about university before you send that application. Yeah.
All right, so let's move on now. Now the next phase, will be that I have written my motivation. I have done the English test, either TOEFL, IELTS, SAT for SAT or ACT for the northern US countries, and I'm set. Okay, I've researched the school. I've researched the course. I know this course I want to go for. What should be the next thing in the mind of anyone?
Okay. You've researched the school. You decided to make an application to the university. Now, after you've done the application, some universities have some feedback timelines. They can give you a feedback in about maybe 2 weeks after you've submitted a complete application. And they will tell you, Olaide, for example, we have received the application. Most times you will get an acknowledged email immediately into your inbox, the email you use in making the application, actually.
Okay.
Now, when you do that, they will send you an acknowledgement that they've received your application, wait for so time, the admission guys are reviewing it. Now, it could take 2 weeks to return back to you and say, okay, Olaide, we've made an offer for you. We like you. We want you. We like your talent. We like your potentials. So this is an offer we're making for you. Sometimes it comes in 2 ways. It could come in a conditional offer, and which may be you are supposed to fulfill some conditions. And some conditions, for example, like let me give you a typical example. Someone who had made an application for MBA, for example, and the university insisted that English test, despite the fact that you studied in Nigeria, your communication in the classrooms for 5-year course you did in the university undergraduate were carried out in English. That is not sufficient for them. They will ask you, go and take that English test, because the MBA course demands that you must have reached an high level of English language and proficiency. So you must provide it. So that condition will be stated clearly on that offer letter. And until you fulfill that condition, you will not get an unconditional offer.
So now so when you send that motivation letter and you apply to the school and you submit all the documents, your English, English test results, your motivation letter, the admissions, you fill in the admissions, you send in your transcript and all of that. So let's talk about the transcript a little bit, because I know that is the bottleneck a lot of students get stuck in. Who sends the transcript? Is it the school that you attended, or can you get it from the school and upload it and send it to the university? How does that happen? Yes, please.
Okay, very, very good question, Mr. Deji. You asked, and I love that part. That part is even one of my favorite parts in this conversation. You know why? Nigeria, my beautiful country, happens to be, if you have gone to the public universities, for example, unfortunately, it becomes a very tall goal for most students to get the transcript. Some students are maybe 1 year pursuing the collection of transcripts. Some maybe 3 months pursuing it. Some will not even, might not be able to get it, and they lose that opportunity. But what I tell some of the students, if you intend to travel through the study pathway, I'm telling you the honest truth, you will not do away with the transcript. Now, this is what a smart student should do. Please go back to your university. And sometimes I want to emphasize this: while you were running your undergraduate program, begin to ask for your exams record. Begin to disturb, even if it is not signed. Begin to build relationship from 100 level, 200 level, 300 level. If you have gone to a polytechnic, HND1 or HND2, whichever one, or in the 1 or in the 2, begin to build relationship with people and ask for your exams record. It's not a transcript, but that is a record to show your scores. Now, I'm a practical example.
Which a cumulative of that is actually the transcript eventually.
So if your universities are diggy-dallying, wasting time to process a transcript, some universities are very fantastic. Public universities are very fantastic. In about maybe 2-3 weeks, they provide that.
Private,
you don't have, no, even public universities.
Okay.
So you can actually get that done. Some very wonderful ones are available. But in case, while you were, maybe for someone I'm speaking to tonight, might not have been privileged to get an exams record, but you will definitely need the transcript when you are putting forward your application, a student copy to be uploaded. Because, let me tell you the why. Decisions are taken not only on the motivation letter and your BSc, which you have a first class or a 2-1. No. Decisions are taken on individual courses and scores you had in each of the years you spent in the university.
All right. Now,
so, and the decisions are sitting on that transcript. So if I'm an exam admission officer, I am taking 70-60% my time on that transcript. In fact, there's a movie I watched about how students get admission into Harvard. And the decisions are taken. In fact, there's a way they rule your transcript, they calculate it, and they do some little magics on it. And you will see the paper being roughened, all of that, because 2 people, 3 people, 4 people are sitting on the decisions. Boards in the admission office are sitting on that decision.
So you're making us scared now with this analysis you are giving. Please, we don't want to.
Well, I'm not.
We don't want to get into the nitty-gritty. Most important thing is that your transcript should be ready. So now, transcript, all of those things have been pushed into the university. You've gotten your conditional offer letter. The offer letter is in your hands, right? That means that you have an admission from the university. Am I correct?
Yeah.
How then do I start the migration process?
Very correct. Now you have an admission. You've gotten an admission. The next thing for you to do is to start the visa process, because every international student, except maybe you are a son of a diplomatic rep, but if you are not in that, you must apply for the study visa. And let's take typically the UK as an example.
Okay.
Once you have an admission letter, that is not sufficient for you to go into the visa stage. That's shocking, right? Some other countries, once you have the admission letter, you, like for example in the US, you need to get an I-20 form and set that from the university to you, fill that correctly, and go for your interviews. But let's take, for example, the UK. Once you have an admission letter, they will state in the admission for you to make a deposit to the university, which you will need to do immediately. £2,000 or £3,000 or £1,000, whichever category that you fall into. Once that is confirmed in the university, there is a process for the CAS, which is called the confirmation of acceptance to study. The university has a license given to them by the Home Office for them to issue out a CAS letter.
When do they issue out that CAS letter?
Most times, it varies. When payment is confirmed to the university, CAS letter can take maybe 1 month from the time you've made your deposit.
So let's talk about the deposit. Now, the deposit, is it 100% of the fees, or what percent do you look at? What's the range?
Okay, like I mentioned earlier, universities differ to universities. Like, let's say, for example, Nottingham Trent University, which I love so much. They will ask you if your tuition is £15,000, you will be asked to make £3,000 deposit to the university's account. Okay. Now, the balance of that, when you arrive in the university on enrollment, you'll be asked to make additional payment of almost about £7,000 or thereabout. And the remaining balance, they will give you at least maybe about 2-3 months for you to make the final payment when you arrive. Okay. So when you make a deposit, of £3,000, the university would some university will even do an interview with you to ask you to genuinely understand if you are actually coming to study in the UK and you can actually fulfill all requirements to study. Some university might not do the interview. They will just wait till when the CAS team are prepared to issue out the CAS letters. And sometimes it could take 1 month, sometimes it could take 2 months, but I'm very, very certain not more than 2 months for that to be issued out to you. The CAS letter, it's the, I used to call it the almost the visa letter, or almost the approval for visa letter. So you will definitely need to have that handy if it's the UK you are considering to study in, and that is very, very crucial.
All right. So invariably, what you've said now is that upon arrival, you will need to make some other payments, which is part of the school fees. Do schools in some other countries, I need to just give a do they allow payments instrumentally? Do they allow you to work while you're studying so you can make money and make your payment for school fees? Just give us a view to that. Okay.
Generally, generally all international students in most top 5 countries, Ireland, the UK, Canada, the US, and Australia, will allow international students to work and work 20 hours during school terms and 40 hours when the school are on vacation. So that allows international students to make some stipends to survive, pay for some tiny expenses that they incur along the way. So that is allowed to do that. Now, going back to the question, do you pay everything up front? Some countries, in some European countries, specifically in Europe, they will tell you before you go for the visa process, the total tuition for the first year should be paid in full.
Repeat that, please.
Now, the total tuition for the first year in some European countries, in Poland, in Lithuania, in Estonia, in preferably maybe Turkey or thereabout, you will be asked to pay the full tuition for the first year. You must
for a 2-year program or 1-year program.
For master's program, for example, it's 2 years in some of those countries. So the first year, let's say the first year is 5,000 euro. So you will be asked to pay 5,000 euros straight to the university's account for the first year. In the second year, the good thing is that in the second year, you would have opportunities for you to pay an installment in the second year in those European countries. Now, for the top 5 countries, coming back to the top 5 countries, you are allowed to pay as you go. Pay as you go. Like, for example, typically in the UK, if your tuition is £15,000, you will be asked to pay a £3,000 to the account of the university for you to get a CAS letter. On arrival, there is a payment structure on arrival. Some schools will ask you to pay the balance of the 50% of the balance while you arrive on enrollment. And the remaining 50% will be spread maybe in months or in a monthly installment, equal installment, or on a quarterly basis. So they are kind of flexible for most of those top 5 countries. And let me give you a shocking thing also. For some places in the US, some universities in the US might not even ask you to make any deposit to the university before you take your I-20 form. Some places, some places in Canada might not even ask you to make a huge sum, but some will ask you to do maybe 7,000 Canadian dollar before they ask you to proceed to the visa stage. Some will ask you to pay 500 Canadian dollars. Some will ask you to pay nothing, just give it a try at the visa stage. So it's a varieties of different universities, different decisions, and all of that across board. But I can assure you, if it is the UK specifically, you must make a deposit. And the lowest I've seen so far is £1,000. The lowest I've seen so far is £1,000. The highest I've seen so far is about £8,000 to some universities in the UK. Deposit.
All right. So let's go deeper. So the visa, applying for the visa. So please just run through what it takes to apply for the visa. What I think that everyone must have at the back of their mind. Obviously, this session is going to spill because of all the information. But let's continue. What does you need to put in place? So let's talk about the visa. How to apply for the visa? Things you need to put in place. Let's go.
Okay, very good question. For the visa, let's take the UK as an example.
It's like you love the UK so much. Let's go on.
No problem. All right. So let's take the UK as a very good example. For the visa, I'd mentioned that you make a deposit to the university. The university comes back to you maybe after 1 month to give you a CAS letter. And once you have a CAS letter, there is also other procedures which I will run through. Number 1 procedure is the funds in your account. You must have sufficient funds to prove to the visa officer or to the home office that you can actually take care of yourself for 1 year. And that amount is £9,125 if you are living outside.
The equivalent of that amount must be sitting in your Nigerian account.
Nigerian account if you are living outside of London. Okay, so £9,125. Now, the balance of your school fees, we mentioned that you made a deposit of 3,000. Okay, so you are left with 12,000, right? So 12,000, add that to the £9,125. That forms, yes, that's 21K, right? So 21,000 in Naira, whichever exchange rate you want to use, you must have that in your account, in either your parents' account. They are very, very specific, in either your parents' account or your own personal account, not uncles. The UK Home Office don't accept sponsors, uncles, aunties, brothers.
What about spouse account?
Yes, the spouse account. That's also accepted.
Okay.
But technically, I would say that if you, the husband, is the one making the application to the Home Office, you should be the one having the money in your account. It's not like I should have it in my wife's account and my wife is the one sponsoring me.
Yeah.
So technically, let that money be for 1 month.
Yeah.
Okay. So that takes care of the proof of funds. Okay. Once you have that in your account for 1 month, you need to print the bank statement plus a covering letter from the bank stating that you own the account, are the signatory to the account, you have access to that fund, and you go straight to the visa stage. And what do you also need to do before the visa stage? Also, you will need to go for what we call the tuberculosis test. Run the tuberculosis test at IOM, that's International Organization for Migration, either in Abuja or in Lagos. I think those are the two places that they run those tests. You make an appointment with them and you go on your appointment day to take the tuberculosis test. So that tuberculosis test, your CAS letter, and your bank statement forms the document you need to present online in the Home Office platform, which is gov.uk. If I'm correct, definitely that's the website. So you go there and familiarize with how to do your application, and also the certificate you used, if it's a master's program, the certificate you use, or I use a bachelor's program to seek for the admission, you would also need to have that. Also, your international passport. If you are here and you want to travel abroad, you don't have an international passport, it is the first step, even before we're talking about credentials, all of that. It is the first important document you must have for you to process your visa. Even some universities require that you present your international passport as part of the document to seek for admissions. It is a very important document. As green as that document is, it is very, very important. It's very, very key. So that international passport that you think that they are castigating outside of this country, it's a very strong document.
Powerful too.
Seek for your visas, because without it, you can't even move forward at all. Okay. So those are the processes.
So let's assume let's assume you've submitted those documents. After submitting the documents, let's start with a refusal. You get a refusal. What should be the next step? The visa is refused.
Before the visa is refused, we need to know why was it refused. Okay. Or before you say you want to go for the next stage or the next step, you need to understand why were those applications refused in the first place. Now, when you understand why it was refused, you can really address that in the next application that you want to make forward. Okay. And there's no big challenge when a visa is refused. It could be refused because maybe you document, or it could be refused because you made a very costly error when you were filling some of the forms online, and you were not paying attention to details when you were doing that. Maybe where you're supposed to write, maybe you were born in 1994 October, and you went and typed 1993, or so you know, those kind of little details are very key. And before you could submit that application, you need to go over and be certain. And let me also bring your attention to something. On your CAS letter, all the details about you is on the CAS letter. So there are some informations that are on the CAS letter you need to impute into the application form. If you mix where you're supposed to write a J and you omitted it, that's a challenge in the future for refusal. So you also might get a refusal if the proof of funds adequately calculated. So you will need to calculate that in Naira to be sure that that proof of fund is adequately sufficient to prove.
The Naira, sorry to interrupt, the Naira keeps fluctuating.
Okay.
Will the Home Office look at the value as at when you printed it, or will it be basically on what is currently the rate?
Okay, if I'm allowed, maybe there's no, okay, there's a place I can check this conversation if I'm correct, right?
So the question now is, what I just want to confirm now is, so will the rate fluctuation affect the value sitting in your bank?
Okay, very good question. I'd wanted to type a website into this chat, but I don't know how to do that right now. But the smartest thing to do, okay, because the embassy have a fixed exchange rate that they will use per time.
Okay.
Now, I will advise everyone who is listening tonight and those who will still listen in the future to check what we call oanda.com. Now, when you check that website, that's under, I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation. Anyway, you need to go to that website and check what is the exchange rate of pounds to Naira. That is what the Home Office or the embassy will use at the time they're taking decisions. So either Nigerian Naira fluctuates up and down and it's not consistent, the embassy will go to that platform to check that is against what you have in your bank account. So that is where you do your calculation, and you must get it right.
Okay, so let's talk about it's successful. You get a success. You get the approval that you're good to go. Your visa has been approved. So the next thing is for you to get your ticket, and like one of my friends would say, "Vamos."
Well, it's not. Well, right now for the UK, you will not just only need to vamos, because
thank you.
You will need
so let's talk about COVID-19. How COVID-19 affects.
Yes. You will need to go and take a COVID-19 test 72 hours before you vamos. Okay, and it has to be negative. And interestingly, the news I'm hearing is that the approved center will need to send that COVID-19 test result directly to the airlines you want to pick up from. So you must take that. Now, I discovered lately also about one of my clients that had traveled last week Friday. I discovered that the COVID-19 test, because you need to go and do what we call the tracker form.
Yeah.
If you're going to travel, maybe via BA, for example, there is a particular number that will be provided by the COVID-19 test kit that you are going to take on day 3 and day 8 on arrival in the UK. And this is how technically I love how they're doing it, because a lot of stunt has gone wrong in the past and they detected. So
please share some of them. What Nigerians do. tell the whole world what Nigerians do, please.
You get to get negative, maybe for example got negative, and you went and collaborate with the providers to provide you a negative result, and that is a dent on our image already. And because of that, they introduced the test on day 3 and day 8 in the UK. So when you arrive and you claimed negative, you will definitely need to go and take a day 3 and day 8 again, and you pay for that services. The last one I saw was £221 that you pay for. Yes. Wow. And once you make that payment, there is a generic number that comes out, which you will need to impute when you are filling your passenger tracker form. Before it was not like that. There was nothing like a a generic number. Everybody fills a tracker form and disappear into the UK.
Yeah.
But today, you will pay first, get a generic number, and impute that when you are filling your passenger tracker form. So that genuinely tells the UK government that this person, once he comes into the UK, we can trace him or trace her to the address he claimed to put on that tracker form, because they will call you. They will give you calls. You're going to put a UK number on that tracker form, so they will trace you.
So to interrupt
and give you the test. Okay.
So to interrupt you, so viewers, please, this session is supposed to last for an hour, but because we need to close on this, we don't want to have a 3.0 version of this. We're going to stretch by an extra 15 minutes so that we can cover up everything. Please bear with us. It's going to be another extra 15 minutes so that we can cover up. All right, so let's continue. So the COVID-19 test, let's assume the person comes out with a negative and everything is fine, and then you arrive in UK. I'm coming to the UK or going to any other country. I don't know anyone there. How do I start planning for settling in the country when I'm in Nigeria or when I get here? When should that plan be in place? What should the person be doing? I don't have any relative in that country. I know nobody. I'm going there all alone. All right. So what do you advise that person needs to do in order to settle in? Yeah.
Okay. You've gotten your visa approved, right?
Yes.
Your flight ticket, you bought your COVID-19 test kit and all of that. Let me be honest with everybody. It's easier for you to go to a country where you have someone, a family member, to take you in, because it's a total different world from where you're coming from. It makes life easier for you. It makes your landing soft, like what we used to say popularly, soft landing. Okay.
Yeah.
But however, in case if you don't have anybody, I'm not emphasizing that you must have someone in the country where you want to go to. You don't necessarily do that, but it gives you a soft landing. But let us say that you don't have anybody in Canada or in the US or in Australia, and you are an international student. One interesting thing about each of these universities is that they have what we call the international office, or we call it international student office.
Yeah.
Now, before you leave Nigeria, you start an engagement with that international student office.
Okay.
Building an email, exchanging an email about your flight details, your time of departure, your time of arrival, and all that. And interestingly, also, they provide logistics to come pick you at the airport for free. You don't pay a dime for that. There's a taxi that comes pick you. So if you have built a relationship with them, they help you do that. Also, on a second note, also, you don't have a place to stay. The International Student Office provides accommodation in the campus to make life easier for you to arrive. So you can make payments into their account. Maybe they ask you to pay £2,000 upfront. You do that. They have secured a space for you. So on arrival, the taxi takes you straight. In fact, sometimes they share the taxi name, the driver, the phone number of the driver to come pick you at the airport. And the person had already built a relationship with you before you even got to the country. So the person takes you from the airport straight to that address. In fact, they will share the address of your home, your new home, with the driver. So it's easy. You don't need. And another thing is that there is what we call the orientation time, where all international students will be reorientated. They will be communicated to. It's like a fun time, a time to build bonds with your likely lecturers, with your likely classmates from different part of the world. So you build a relationship from there, and you start having nice time. It could last for 1 week, different activities. So you are at home from home. So you don't have any reason to be depressed or homesick and all of that. So they prepare you and give you a soft landing in that country. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about time to work.
Oh, great.
As a student, and let's talk about is it the post-student work permit? Let's talk about it so that people can understand how they need to, what they need to look out for and how they need to prepare. Yes.
All right. I like this last part, and I think it should have been the middle part of this conversation. Most people here tonight, or those who will watch later, they are focused on what is the after. All the story that Olaide is talking, what happens after I graduate from the university? This beautiful English you're talking about, waiting will happen. Now, if I take Canada, for example, you are allowed to stay for 3 years in Canada, which is what we call the postgraduate work permit. And interestingly, the Canadian authority has stated clearly that even despite, because of the COVID-19 issues, and you do your program online, maybe your program is lasting for 2 years, and you did the first year, even maybe you even did all of your program online for the 2 years. Once you graduate, you can still apply for the postgraduate work permit from Nigeria, and you will be granted to come into Canada to start your 3 years work processes. And that is attached, let me emphasize here, that is attached to those who are delegated universities, what we call the DLIs, a designated learning institute or center thereabout, which name that is. So you must go to the university who has a license under the DLI for you to have a postgraduate work permit. And that could be in between 2 years or 3 years. In the US, it's a bit skeptical about the US, which I will not want to talk about right now, because the last administration actually stopped international students to stay back, except maybe you studied software or anything related to IT. That's when you can stay back in the country. If you had a PhD also, you're allowed to do that. But for other courses, it's a bit tough. But right now, I think the current administration is trying to change all of those laws. And falling back to Ireland and the UK specifically, since 2019, due to the Brexit, they have readopted or reintroduced the 2 years postgraduate visas after you wrap up the program.
Any hours restriction on how many hours you can work after the postgraduate?
While you're schooling, while you're schooling, like I said earlier, 20 hours per week and 40 hours of school time. So you are allowed to do that. But when you finish your program, there is no cap to the hours you can actually do your work in the UK. The law has already allowed you, once you finish your program, you make an application for the 2 years postgraduate
paid for or free of charge? Is it paid for or free of charge?
I'm telling you, it's not free. £700 starting from July 2021. So it's £700. But the health subcharge has not yet been determined right as we speak right now. But right now, the cost of the visa is £700. And you will not need any sponsors. You will not need the university to sponsor you. All what you need to do is the CAS letter you use in coming into the UK. You will need that CAS letter, because there are some details in that CAS letter you will need while you are making the application for the visa, postgraduate visa stuff. So all those details, I think they're still fine-tuning the health subcharge you're going to pay. But the interesting thing is that the 2 years allows you to get into the labor market, into the job market, and get the jobs that you want. And once you have the job, you can actually switch into the work visa. Also, you can switch to any visas you want to switch into. You can also switch back into the study visa again. Maybe you want to go for a PhD program, you can switch back into the PhD program. You can switch back into masters if you were a first degree holder at that time. But however, note that for those who went for masters and undergraduate program, you are entitled to 2 years. For those who have gone for the PhD, you're entitled to 3 years for you to stay back in the UK. Yeah.
Thank you so much. You have opened the eyes of a lot of people. Guys, I promised I was going to bring somebody who will go deep dive into this, and I'm glad Olaide Olumeko has done justice to that. Thank you so much, Olaide Olumeko. I know you have done exceptionally well. Okay.
Thank you.
There are a lot of people who everything you said right now is still scattered everywhere in their head. It's not making any sense. Now they
Okay.
want proper counsel and they want to understand how to get it done, or maybe they need support. And I know that's what you do right now at
Yeah.
MOD Education. So please, can you share
Right.
your information, probably your socials, where people can reach out to you? They need to make inquiries about this. Can you share it so people can hear you? Yeah, people
All
can
right.
take
Thank
it.
you. Thank you, Mr. Deji, for that privilege. I currently work with Mode Education, and I will be glad to counsel, to advise, to put you through on your study migration pathway. Okay. My phone numbers. Am I allowed to mention my phone numbers?
No, please, we don't want your phone to go AWire right now. Just give them probably your socials so they can write out to
Okay.
you and then you can
My
refer them. Your
my
social.
my first name and my last name, as you see, it's being shown on the screen wherever you're watching from,
Yeah.
is on my Facebook, my Instagram, on my LinkedIn. And interestingly, if you are in Abuja or around Abuja, on Tuesday morning, we'll be in Sheraton, and we'll be
Tuesday. I think you need to mention the date, the precise date. Because some
okay,
people watch
Tuesday
this after the
morning.
date. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me check the calendar for that. Sorry, a
So
moment.
today is the 10th. So we're talking of probably the 13th, right?
Yes, on the
13th of
13th.
April.
Yes, 13th of April by 9 a.m. Actually, you are required to sign up, but in case if you did not see all of that before now, we're currently running an education fair in Abuja, and
Yeah.
almost all the schools across the world are currently going to be there in the Sheraton Hotel in Abuja. So we will be hosting them, and I will be there live, and also have a conversation with anyone who is around the environment. So you can look for me at Nottingham Trent desk and Nottingham Trent University desk so that we can have a conversation from there. But before then, you can actually check me out on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on Instagram and send me a hi. I will respond to you and we can take the conversation forward from there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. This is Giving Back with Deji Live. And we are closing up on this discussion. Mr. Olaide Olumeko, thank you. We called you and you honored our invitation. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
We're
Thank you
glad
too.
a lot of people have learned a thing or two.
Thank
Also,
you.
for every other person here, you would like to have more information about student migration overseas. If you cannot reach out to Mr. Laide Olumeko, you can reach out to me on all the social platforms where we post all of this. If you need his details, I can share with you, so you can reach out to him via email or probably official phone numbers, and then you can get all the information that you need as per migration overseas. Thank you so much, Mr. Laide.
Thank you too
And
for having
we
me. I
hope that
appreciate
next
you.
time, if there are more demands, we will need to bring you back.
Oh, really? I'll be glad to come back. No problem. It's my joy
Thank you
to
so much for
impart
coming.
knowledge. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much too. I appreciate you
All
too.
right. All right. So everyone, I'm glad you had this session with me, giving back with Deji Life, and I'm glad you've learned a thing or two. So I'm sure you have gotten enough information that you need. Next week, I'm coming with another juicy episode. Please, I need everyone to stay glued to my social media handles and every of the platforms where we push information. This time, I am bringing bigger shots now. I'm bringing people who are going to disrupt your thinking. I'm going to share a lot of things that you do not know about. And also, as one of the products we'll be launching going forward is during the course of the week, we'll be giving probably a 1-minute video just to show probably information that we gathered that might help you. We'll be dropping those information on all our social media handles and short videos, just 2-minute videos or 1-minute videos. Please stay glued and watch this space. Thank you very much for this time. And I remain Deji Ogumola, and I'm your host at Giving Back with Deji Live. This time we'll see next week. Please stay with us.